One question I get asked a lot is what's the difference between a content writer and a copywriter, and which one am I supposed to hire? In my world, the terms are used interchangeably, but there are some important differences between the two that can impact who you're going to hire. Knowing the difference between the two will help you find the right person to hire. If you don't know me, I'm Sarah Jane, copywriter and content strategist with over a decade of experience in content marketing. If you want more tips on how to hire a copywriter or just about copywriting in general, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video of this face. Now let's get to the good stuff. What's the difference between a content writer and a copywriter? Let's start with content writer. So a content writer is someone who writes content, usually for the web. The purpose of that content is often to educate, inform, entertain, inspire. Typically, a content writer would work on more long-form content like blog posts, ebooks, all kinds of downloads, but they might also work on things like social posts, video scripts, other types of content that's aimed at educating the audience. Now let's talk about what a copywriter is. A copywriter is someone who writes content with the goal of persuading the reader to do something. This isn't always to buy, so when you hear the term conversion, it doesn't always mean a purchase. Sometimes it just means you want them to take an action. So you're persuading them to download something, to take a survey, anything. So that's what a copywriter really focuses on, those conversions, which isn't always a sale. We call sales content copy. So that's the difference between copy and content. Copy is more sales oriented or conversion oriented. So a copywriter would write things like social media posts, emails, Facebook ads, text messages, anything that the purpose is to get the reader to take an action. So there seems to be a lot of just like interest in the differentiation between the two. I see this a lot online. A lot of people search for it on Google. Like I said, the terms are often used interchangeably in my world. So copywriters often write content and content writers often write content that is aimed at getting the reader to take an action. So often they're writing both types of content either way, but not always. So the main difference that you want to think about is that copywriters are trained in sales psychology and writing techniques that get people to buy. But that doesn't mean they can't write an awesome blog post. So I have clients, I consider myself a copywriter. The other writers in my agency are copywriters. But we write a lot of blog post content where the goal is more to educate and inform than sell something directly. As a copywriter, you're also writing content sometimes. And content writers aren't necessarily trained in the finer skills of writing for sales, but that doesn't mean that they don't know how to craft a really great CTA. So they might be writing a blog post that is aimed at engaging the audience, but then they have a CTA to download some kind of freebie. They are encouraging the audience to take that action, but they're not necessarily a copywriter because it's not focused on sales content. Now that you know the difference between the two, who should you hire? If the bulk of your material is marketing or sales focused, you're probably looking for a copywriter. Again, they can still write content that's aimed at educating, informing. Maybe not all copywriters, but a lot of copywriters are also writing content. If you're looking for someone more to do something like create thought leadership content, ghostwrite a book, write a lot of educational blog posts, a lot of educational white papers, then you might be looking for a content writer. What's more important than the title is what the writer's actual experience is. So you want to make sure that you ask them questions about what types of content they can write. So if you're going to have them focused on blog posts, make sure that they've written a lot of blog posts before. You'll also want to ask about work that they've done in the past. So clients that they've worked with, what were the results of that work? See if they have case studies or samples. See if they have recommendations, people that recommend them. This will tell you a lot more about their skill and their experience than their job title. Yes, you've got to have something to type into Google or Instagram or YouTube to find the person that you're looking for. But when you actually find a writer, it's more important that you really talk to them and understand their experience and skill set. That's more important than what they actually call themselves. If you want to dive into this topic a little bit more, I have created a free guide on how to hire a copywriter that's a good fit for your business. So this guide's going to help you save a bunch of time and headache as you start looking and interviewing copywriters. And this is based on my experience as a copywriter for over a decade, but also in hiring copywriters. So I have an agency. I've hired copywriters before. I'll continue to hire copywriters. In my corporate life, I hired a lot of copywriters. I've made some hiring mistakes along the way, but you can learn from those hiring mistakes because there's a good chance you don't have the time, mental energy, or money to make a mistake. Learn from my mistakes, get the guide totally free. That's a PDF. You can download it at the description link and let me know what you think about it. If you have any other questions about the difference between copywriters and content writers, or you have a question about hiring a copywriter, pop those questions in the comments so I can answer them. Until next time.